What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, I've gone to the dark side. Wigglytuff this season got an update with one of its charge moves. It got access to Icy Wind, which is incredibly powerful for a charmer to have. And obviously, when I saw that move update, I thought probably what a lot of you thought. Pairing it with the Bastiodon Shadow Victreebel core is probably going to be the most disgusting, powerful, dominant, quick matches, easy wins, quick losses kind of team, right? Bastiodon and Shadow Victreebel have been a core since the very beginning of Go Battle League. A lot of people don't like to talk about it, but it's always there. It's ever looming. And Wigglytuff makes a fantastic safe swap for this team with that Icy Wind. So, let me know what you guys think about it. This was by far some of the fastest and easiest battles. If you have a win condition, like this team wins against theirs, it is just fast, hard, easy wins. If you lose, well, you lose hard too. That's the whole point. If you need quick sets, try this team. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'm sorry. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Bastiodon on the lead versus Lantern. Obviously a tough lead. We're going to go ahead and swap out right away into that Wigglytuff. This is Water Gun Lantern as well, and they're deciding to stay in. This is telling me a few things. Firstly, maybe they have a second answer to Bastiodon in the back, or they're extremely weak in the back. Either way, Wigglytuff is looking really good now as they do decide to swap in a Pelipper here, and they decide to shield the Icy Wind as well. And Wigglytuff is just going to do what Wigglytuff does, charm and debuff. This thing is a monster now in the Great League. I think a lot of people are sleeping on its potential, but it's really, really strong. It's here. I'm probably not the only one talking about it right now or using it in this first week. But I think we're going to see a lot more Wigglytuff this season just because of how strong it is. Bastion now can come back in and get a healthy farm down as Switch Clock is back up for us. And because they loaded up on so much energy with Lantern, they might not be able to switch out right away. I'm going to go ahead and swap into Victreebel, but they do switch out right away. So the Switch Clocks were realigned there. But Gligar is going to be in the back, and this is obviously a huge opportunity for us to win since they only have one shield remaining. Shadow Victreebel here can get the final shield with a Leaf Blade, and then Bastiodon can take it from here. Just because there's a Lantern in the back doesn't mean that Bastion, they decide to undercharge right there. It's a good undercharge on their part to get some more energy, but ultimately I'm shielding the Dig, right? Dig is going to be the hardest hitting move left in the game. 2 Surfs I don't even think are enough to KO, and they don't even have Dig, they have Night Slash, so that's going to be a good game as I can farm down. I don't think they would have gotten to a second Dig right there anyways, as Lantern is now going to go ahead and throw the Surf, but this is totally fine. Bastiodon, even in matchups like this where it's a losing matchup, right? Bastiodon doesn't care. You give it enough health, some energy, and shield advantage, it's going to win. So we just take out the Lantern right there, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Alright, moving to the next one, Pelipper lead. So really positive lead for us, and we will see them swap out into Registeel, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Shadow Victreebel. Shadow Victreebel right here, unless they're running Flash Cannon, which most don't, you're going to be resisting Focus Blast and Zap Cannon. So we're going to go ahead and let it go. It is going to be the Focus Blast, as you guys can see. Does quite a bit of damage, but Lock-On isn't going to be enough to farm us down. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Leaf Blade here, just to do as much chip damage as possible. And then we're going to commit to that farm down, give up 1 shield in order to stop this next charge move and maintain positive switch advantage, because Bastiodon on this back end against Pelipper can obviously do very well, and we should have a Leaf Blade ready to go for the Pelipper when it comes back in. We're basically just going to blind throw Leaf Blade no matter what. I don't think we're going to survive long enough to get to an Acid Spray, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw the Leaf Blade. This should get a shield here from Pelipper, which is always nice if we can even up the shields while maintaining positive switch advantage, which we do. We're going to come in with Bastion right away, and they swap out, and there's Medicham in the back. Wigglytuff is going to take it. This is what this team does. If there are not 3 hard answers for this team, so something like maybe Whiscash, Skarmory, and Talonflame, for example, right? Would be a good counter team if you guys are thinking about countering this. And also be careful, that team is pretty common. The Whiscash and Skarmory, or the Whiscash and Talonflame core, is very popular this season. So obviously if you're running this team, be careful about that team comp. But like I was saying, if you're not triple hard countered in that way, this team is going to steamroll through a lot of neutral matchups to some extent, as Bastiodon now is going to be taking out the Pelipper. They go ahead and go for one last Weather Ball here to fight the good fight, but ultimately Bastiodon is the original Great League tank, and we will be booming this bird out of the sky, so that is going to be a good battle, very well played. Boom, down it goes. Alright. Moving into the next one, Bastiodon versus Hypno. Okay, so positive lead here unless they have Focus Blast, but even then it's not Shadow Hypno. They decide to swap out into a Azumarill, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in the Shadow Victreebel. This is going to be a situation where you have to shield once, because obviously Ice Beam would one-shot here, so we're just going to go ahead and stop that. We're going to commit to that farm down, look to go for Leaf Blade on the back end versus the Hypno, do as much damage as possible, and yeah, I mistimed the Leaf Blade right there the Leaf Blade right there. Could have gone thrown it sooner or one fast move later, but ultimately we get the end result, right? Even shields, maintain positive switch advantage, and now I'm not worried about Focus Blast in this situation. Why? That's not a Shadow Hypno. Normal Hypno tickles, right? So we're gonna go ahead and let this go. It is just gonna be Shadow Ball. And things are looking very good. I'm going to go ahead and force their hand here with a Stone Edge. I'm thinking maybe they don't have a good answer in the back, but the Stone Edge does land, which is perfect. They're going to get farmed down, and I'm ready to swap out as, well, there's a Scrafty in the back. So Wigglytuff is going to take that one, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. As you guys are seeing, right, game one, we had a lead loss, and then Wigglytuff was able to apply those debuffs in the mid game, and we overcame a tough situation. But in these other games where we have positive matchups, it's just steamrolling through. Good battle. Speaking of steamrolling through, Skarmory on the lead. Swap Whiscash is just going to get destroyed by the Shadow Victreebel here. You don't need to worry about Mud Bomb. It will hurt, or Scald. It will hurt, but it's not enough to one-shot, so you can just safely no-shield as long as you come in right away, right? If they're going to be able to throw 2 Mud Bombs, that is dangerous. We're going to go ahead and go for the Leaf Blade here just to do some chip damage. Ideally, I shouldn't even throw a Leaf Blade. I should just come in with Bastiodon so that Switch Clock, we're going to come in right away because they're locked in here. Look at this time. There's like another 20 seconds where they're stuck in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and load up on energy. This is a Steel Wing Skarmory as well, which is actually pretty cool this season. Got an update. One of the, actually the #1 flyer, #1 Pokemon in the Great League. I'm going to go ahead and go for Flamethrower here to force their hand for shield advantage. Otherwise, we take out the Skarmory because they did just do a Brave Bird. So we do get the shield. They will decide to swap out, and it's going to be double Mud Boy team. So a Quagsire in the back. This team obviously handles that very, very well with a Wigglytuff and a Shadow Victreebel. And Bastiodon is the original, the OG counter to Skarmory's, and you guys are going to see that the Flash Cannon matchup is a bit different, so maybe with the rise of Bastiodon being a lot more common this season, maybe we see Skarmory's pick up Flash Cannon instead of Brave Bird, because I think Sky Attack is still really nice to have. But we will see a Icy Wind here get the final shield from our opponent, and things are looking fine. We can go ahead and no shield right here. Because of the Icy Wind debuff, Mud Bomb won't be enough to take us out. They're going to have to throw another one in order to KO, which means they're out of energy. We have 1-0 shield advantage, and all that's left is the Quagsire, which is going to go down to 1 fast move, and then the Skarmory in the back, which is obviously not going to like the Bastiodon. So good game to my opponent. All right, moving to the next one. Lickitongue on the lead. Now, Lickitongue lead. There could be a lot of things in the back. It pairs well with everything, right? But it pairs well with top meta stuff. So I'm anticipating potentially Lantern. I'm anticipating potentially Talonflame or Skarmory. There's a lot of different things that it can be, and the fact that they're deciding to stay in tells me that maybe they are weak in the back to Bastiodon. So I might need to keep my Bastiodon alive in order to potentially win this game, because if there is a Talonflame in the back, I need to get it onto the field against Wigglytuff. So that's what we're going to look to do here, is a Power Whip will land, and if they decide to shield this Stone Edge, I'm swapping out into Wigglytuff, right? Because clearly they're weak in the back and they want switch alignment. So I go for the Stone Edge. and they no-shield it. I'm like, okay, next Pokemon coming in, it's going to be a Whiscash. I'm going to swap anyways, and there's a Skarmory in the back. So that is why my opponent stayed in with Lickitongue, is because they wanted to get rid of the, stayed in with Lickitongue is against my Bastiodon is because there was a Skarmory in the back, which is why I needed to bait it out here with Wigglytuff. Again, had they shielded Lickitongue on the lead, I would have swapped into Wigglytuff, which we get the Skarmory anyways. But since we won lead and they just let it go, with that Whiscash comes in, we swap out right away. You guys can already see this is a checkmate situation. This team will checkmate a lot of teams who are not prepared for it. That's the fun of this team, is it always wiggles its way back into the meta and looks to take over some ELO ranges. Now I'm going to go ahead and not KO the Skarmory just yet, because I want to have my Victreebel safe swap, or my swap clock basically up, so that I can come in against the Whiscash and fast move it down. So that is going to be a good game. Very well played, Shadow Victreebel, an original monster in the Great League. Good battle. Alright, moving into the next one, we have Bastiodon versus Lantern once again. We're going to do the same thing, swap out into Wigglytuff, see how my opponent adjusts. And they decide to come in with Talonflame, which is perfect. If this is the core of that team, then Pokemon number 3, I mean, it could be a Skarmory, right? I don't want to count that out. But typically, you're not going to have a double flyer backline like this. So with Talonflame out on the field, Wigglytuff can do a few things. Firstly, baits it out, right? And secondly, it applies debuffs with Icy Wind. And look at the damage. Got it down to like 20% health, 15% health there. That's huge. So Bastiodon now can come in. We need to wait for Switch Clock. As you guys can see, I'm not going to attack. Bastiodon can easily tank moves here. I just want to make sure that my Shadow Victreebel can come in right away versus that Lantern. So I'm going to let the Flame Charge go through. Now I will fast move them down because they're stuck in that animation. And then we're going to swap out right away, and it is going to be Toxicroak in the back. So they swap into Lantern, and I think either way, I don't think they're winning this game. But Shadow Victreebel obviously is going to have to be shielding. Whether I was against the Toxicroak or the Lantern or just committing to the farm down, I'm going to go for Acid Spray here as well. This is a good move to do because it's going to come down to fast moves in order to win this game. My opponent decides to no shield. I'm calling the debuff, but ultimately it just didn't matter, right? Shadow Razor Leaf just shreds through stuff. I will no shield right here so that Bastiodon can stare down Toxicroak in the eyes and smack it down, you know. So that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Alright, moving into the next one. We have Bastiodon versus Jellicent. So, tough lead. We're going to go ahead and swap out right away into Wigglytuff to get ahead on energy, and they bring in a Talonflame. Again, this is the whole setup of the team. If you win lead, things are good. If you lose lead, you need to get those Talonflames and Skarmories out on the field, which Wigglytuff can do because of Bastiodon lead. That is how this team is created and how it can dominate. The only way it doesn't dominate is if there is two answers in the back. Like I said, a Skarmory and a Talonflame, just as an example. There's a lot of other ways, a lot of other Pokemon it could be. So we're going to go ahead and come in with that Bastiodon once the switch clock is gone. Or the timer at the top there, you want to wait down so that it adds more time or allows you to get your switch clock back. And you can see Shadow Victreebel, the timer there is coming back, so we're going to go ahead and fast move down. Obviously, we're going straight into Wigglytuff here, or not Wigglytuff, Shadow Victreebel, but there is a good answer in the back, and that is going to be a Trevenant. So, unfortunately, right here, this is one of those situations where we are hard countered. Now, we can do a lot of damage with Shadow Razor Leaf, even though it is resisted, but Shadow Claw ultimately is going to be taking us out, and we're not going to be able to overcome this matchup, basically, right? We're not resisting the fast move here from Trevenant like we were from Toxicroak, so they will be able to farm us down, and that is going to be a good game. Bastiodon is, I mean, pick my poison here for going down. I'll get hit with a Shadow Ball or a Surf. It doesn't matter. I'm going down, so I'm going to go ahead and no shield the next charge move right here. But this is just one of those battles, like I said, where you're either gonna win and you're gonna dominate, or you're just gonna get triple hard countered. That's the whole point of this team, and you're playing a game of odds. How many times do I get triple hard countered versus how many times do I dominate? And ultimately, it was a lot more wins than losses for me today. All right, final battle, I think. We had a final battle. We had a Talonflame lead, Lantern, safe swap. Obviously, very positive for us. I think Shadow Victreebel is a necessary evil for this meta because people are getting way too comfortable with safe swapping Mudboys and Lanterns. Don't know why. But Shadow Victreebel is going to make quick work of that, as we can go ahead and go for a Leaf Blade here against Talonflame. And because the Switch Clock has not come back up yet, Bastiodon can easily lock this down, and Talonflame just has to sit here and watch its own destruction. This is what's beautiful about this team, is because it's all hard-hitting fast move damage. If you have positive alignments like we did right there, you can lock down that lead Pokemon like a Talonflame basically instantly. They have a superior in the back, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Flamethrower, and Wigglytuff can easily take this here with Charm, and my opponent decided to close the app, I think. Me personally, if you're going to surrender, right, sometimes I surrender. If you're going to surrender, just surrender. Closing the app makes me sit here and have to charm you down. I'm going to get the win anyways, but ultimately, this team, obviously a lot of fun. It's a necessary evil for the Great League. And ultimately, it's a part of the meta, especially with Wigglytuff getting access to Icy Wind. I think you guys are going to see this team a lot this season, especially with all the Flyers and Mudboys. That's like Flyers and Mudboys, Skarmory, Talonflame, Whiscash, Swampert, Quagsire. Like, those 5 have been very popular. And if you have alignment on this team, or can overcome, like I showed you guys today, the bad leads, right? Then you can do very, very well. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, I apologize that Shadow Victreebel and Wigglytuff and Bastiodon might be in some of your sets now, but it's a good team, and I like winning. So, I hope you guys enjoy, and like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.